Hello friends, welcome to lesson 1, Attributes and Dimensions of Social Stratification. Introduction. In all societies, people differ from each other on the basis of their age, sex and personal characteristics. As we all know that human society is not homogeneous but heterogeneous. Apart from the natural differences, human beings are also differentiated according to the socially approved criteria. So, the socially differentiated men are treated as socially unequal from the point of view of different social rewards like status, power, income, etc. That may be called as social inequality. The term social inequality in simplest sense refers to the existence of socially created inequalities. After completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand the concept and meaning of social stratification. You will be able to explain the characteristics, dimensions and basis of social stratification. So let us begin by understanding the concept and meaning of social stratification. Social stratification is as old as human civilization. When human society moved from fishing and gathering stage to agricultural and industrial society stage with surplus economy, a variety of occupations developed which were essential. For the proper functioning of the society, inevitably, these occupations began to be ranked hierarchically based on the importance of that particular occupation to a society. Therefore, in all societies, three kinds of resources are valued. Firstly, power, that is the ability to impose one's will on others. Secondly, prestige, that is the respect from others. And the third factor is property, that is the wealth owned. These resources are unequally distributed among individuals and groups, be it in a complex or simple society. When people are evaluated on the basis of their ascribed and achieved characteristics, a social hierarchy is formed. A hierarchy is a set of ranked statuses from highest to lowest. Because both the most and the least valued traits are likely to be relatively rare, status hierarchies tend to be diamond-shaped, narrow at both the top and bottom. Within the hierarchy, people at different levels or strata can claim different amounts of power, prestige and property. In this way, a set of ranked statuses based on evaluations of social significance is transformed into a hierarchy of control over societal resources. Thus, there is a strong relationship between inequality and stratification system. Social stratification, dear friends, is a particular form of social inequality. All societies arrange their members in terms of superiority, inferiority and equality. It is a process of interaction or differentiation whereby some people come to rank higher than others. When individuals and groups are ranked according to some commonly accepted basis of valuation in a hierarchy of status levels based upon the inequality of social positions, social stratification occurs. Social stratification means division of society into different strata or layers. It involves a hierarchy of social groups. Members of a particular layer have a common identity, they have a similar lifestyle as well. Different scholars have defined social stratification in different ways. Let us discuss some of those definitions given by the scholars. For example, Ogburn and Nimkov define it as the process by which individuals and groups are ranked in more or less enduring hierarchy of status, and this is known as stratification. According to George Andrew Lundberg, a stratified society is the one which is marked by inequality, by differences among people that are evaluated by them as being lower and higher. Gisbert defines social stratification as the division of society into permanent groups of categories linked with each other by the relationship of superiority and subordinations. Similarly, Williams also defines social stratification as the ranking of individuals on a scale of superiority, inferiority or equality according to some commonly accepted basis of valuation. Raymond Murray says social stratification is horizontal division of society into higher and lower social units. According to Melvin Tumin, who is the authority on social stratification refers to arrangement of any social group or society into hierarchy of positions that are unequal with regard to power, property, social evaluation and psychic gratification. The term stratification thus refers to a process by which individuals and groups are ranked in a more or less enduring hierarchy of status. It also refers to the division of a population into strata, one on top of another, on the basis of certain characteristics like inborn qualities, material possessions and performance. Friends, we should also differentiate between social inequality and social stratification. The term social inequality refers to the socially created inequalities. Stratification is a particular form of social inequality. It refers to the presence of social groups which are ranked one above the other in terms of the power, prestige and wealth their members possess. Those who belong to a particular group or stratum will have some awareness of common interest and common identity. When social inequalities are ranked and institutionalized by the society, they become stratas. Inequality is found in all societies, irrespective of time or place. Personal characteristics such as beauty, skill, physical strength and personality may all play a role in the perpetuation of inequality. However, there are also patterns of inequality associated with social positions people occupy. There are two types of inequality for that matter, natural and man-made. So far as natural inequality is concerned with reference to age, sex, height, weight, color, etc., the man-made inequality may be horizontal or vertical. For example, different occupational groups perform different activities, but when these groups become social groups in the sense that they are placed hierarchically and they have interaction within the group and at the interstrata level, then such type of inequality is called social inequality. Let us now discuss the important characteristics of social stratification. Melvin Tumin, the American sociologist, has mentioned these characteristics of social stratification. To begin with, Stratification is social in the sense that it does not represent inequality which are biologically based. It is true that factors such as strength, intelligence, age, sex can often serve as the basis on which status are distinguished, but such differences by themselves are not sufficient to explain why some statuses receive more power, property and prestige than others. Biological traits do not determine social superiority and inferiority until they are socially recognized. For example, manager of an industry attains a dominant position not by the physical strength nor by his age, but by having socially defined traits. His education, training, skills, experience, personality, character, etc. are found to be more important than the biological qualities. Stratification system is also ancient, that is very old. Stratification was present even in the small wandering bands. Age and sex were the main criteria of stratification during those times. Difference between the rich and poor, powerful and humble, free men and slaves was there in almost all ancient civilizations. Ever since the time of Plato and Kautilya, the social philosophers have been deeply concerned with the economic, social, political inequalities. Indeed, the intensiveness and extensiveness of inequalities have undergone changes and continues to evolve on the basis of socio-economic and technological changes and developments in the society. The third characteristic is social stratification is universal, that is, it is present in all societies irrespective of spatial and temporal dimensions. The difference between rich and poor, the haves or have-nots is evident everywhere. Even in the non-literate society, stratification is very much present. The fourth characteristic is social stratification has diverse forms and it has never been uniform in all societies. The ancient Roman society was stratified into two strata, the patricians and the plebeians. The patricians were the wealthy, land-owning noble class in Rome. They often owned slaves who would work their farms for them. The patricians inherited their power and held almost all the important government positions such as the councils. However, only males could vote. In early Rome, patricians were the only ones who could hold political or religious office. The plebeians were the commoners in Rome and had the highest population in society. They included merchants, farmers and craft workers. Many lived in apartments above or behind their shops and rented the stories above it. After the conflict of the orders, plebeians were allowed to participate in politics and gain political offices and power in society. The plebeians elected tribunes to give them a voice in the government. However, the patricians held most of the power. When we talk about Aryan society, which was divided into four varnas, the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and the Shudras, and the ancient Greek society, when we talk, it was stratified into freemen and slaves, the ancient Chinese society into mandarins and merchants, farmers and soldiers. Class and estate seem to be the general forms of stratification found in the modern world. A very important characteristic of stratification is it is consequential. It means that stratification system has its own consequences, the most important, most desired, and often the scarcest things in human life are distributed unequally because of stratification. Social stratification leads to two kinds of consequences. What are they? Life chances and lifestyles. Life chances refers to the opportunities each individual has to improve their quality of life. It deals with things such as infant mortality, longevity, physical and mental illness, marital conflict, separation and divorce. Lifestyle defines our way of living. In sociological terms, lifestyle connects our habits with several other social dimensions. According to psychologist Alfred Adler, the basic character of a person is established in his or her early childhood. Friends, let us now discuss the dimensions of social stratification. In fact, there are various dimensions of social stratification. When we talk about class, it refers to the people at the same economic level. According to Karl Marx, all those who share same relationship with mode of production comprise of one class. Power is also a dimension of stratification. Power, as defined by Max Weber, is the ability to impose one's will on other social actors regardless of their own wishes. Power is a social resource that is unequally distributed in most societies, groups and relationships. Power is also relational, that is, it can be realized only when other people obey. The means of exercising power and the basis on which power is exercised in society has been diverse in nature. Authority, even this is a dimension of stratification. It refers to the power that belongs to a socially recognized status, such as the power exercised by the president, police officers or employers, and therefore considered to be legitimate by other members of the society. Prestige. Prestige is unique social unit that depends on the respect that others are willing to give. Some societies honor the wise and humble, others the immodest and hostile, whereas in modern industrial societies, prestige is largely based on occupational status, although income is also important. For instance, the highest scores are given to professionals such as physicians, lawyers, scientists and college professors. A profession is an occupation that requires a long period of training. The lowest rankings in contrast are given to people whose jobs require little training and who do dirty work or who must take orders without question, for example, nursing home attendants, sweepers, etc. Ranking. Ranking is a selective process in the sense that only some statuses are selected for comparative ranking. Ranking is done on the basis of several factors. What are they? Firstly, the personal characteristics that people are thought to need if they are to learn and perform the roles effectively, such as intelligence, aggressiveness and politeness. The second factor is the skills and abilities that are believed necessary for adequate role performance, such as surgical, numerical or even our linguistic skills. Thirdly, the general qualities of the task, for example, difficulty, cleanliness, danger and so forth. The purpose of ranking is to identify the right person for the right position. Ranking non-valuative, that is, jobs are rated as harder or easier, cleaner or dirtier, safer or more dangerous, and people are judged slower, smarter or more skillful than others, without implying that some are socially more important and others less because of these characteristics. Another dimension is status differentiation. Status differentiation operates more effectively when the tasks are clearly defined, authority and responsibility are distinguished, mechanism for recruiting and training exists, adequate sanctions including rewards and punishment exist to motivate persons. Responsibilities, resources and rights are assigned to status, not to particular individuals. For only by doing so, societies can establish general and uniform rules or norms that will apply to many and diverse individuals who are to occupy the same status. For example, all the different women who will play the role of a parent. Differentiation is not independent process in itself. The most important criteria for understanding the process of differentiation is ranking. Now let us talk about evaluation. Social differentiation and ranking are further strengthened by evaluation process. Evaluation is both a personal and societal attribute. That is, individuals assign a relative worth, a degree of preference and a priority of desirability to everything. There are three dimensions of evaluation. Prestige, for example, as we have discussed, it refers to honor and involves the respectful behavior. Radcliffe Brown, the British social anthropologist, says that among hunting societies, three groups usually are accorded special prestige: the elderly, those with supernatural powers, those who have special personal attributes such as hunting skill. In more advanced societies like ours, prestige is the commodity that is in scarce supply and it is therefore more valued. Another factor is preferability. Those positions, that is status roles, which are preferred by majority of people are evaluated higher. Another dimension of evaluation is popularity. Those status roles which are popular, about which people know to be very prestigious, are evaluated higher. For example, nowadays there is fashion among students to go for computer engineering job. It is the most popular occupation. Rewards is another dimension with regard to social stratification. The statuses which are differentiated, ranked and evaluated are allocated differential rewards in terms of good things in life. Such units such as families, subcultures, social classes and occupations that are socially differentiated are differentially rewarded in various ways. Healthcare, education, income and positions of prominence are a few of the advantages. Thus, differentiation, ranking, evaluation and rewarding or rewards are the social process which bring about, shape and maintain the system of stratification. There are several bases or forms of stratification. Social stratification may be based on a variety of forms or interpenetrating principles such as free and unfree, class, caste, estate, occupation, administrative hierarchy or income level. Let us discuss some of this little briefly. When we talk about free and unfree, in primitive communities, stratification was based on free men and slaves. The slaves did not enjoy rights and privileges. The slave is practically at the disposal of his master. He is the property of his master. The slave could be bought and sold, though his treatment and the degree of protection accorded to slave varied from place to place and from time to time. In the Middle Ages in Europe, serfs usually possessed some plot of land and they might cultivate the land for themselves, but they were bound to till the fields of their immediate landlord and pay additional dues under certain circumstances. In Europe society, it was divided into landlords and serfs. A serf is a less unfree than slave. When we talk about class, it is a principal basis of social stratification found especially in the modern civilized countries and societies. In societies where all men are free before the law, stratification may be based upon accepted and self-estimation of superiority or inferiority. According to Maurice Ginsburg, the British sociologist, social class may be described as portions of the community or collection of individuals standing to each other in relation of quality and marked off from other persons by accepted standards of superiority and inferiority. A social class as defined by McIver and Page is any portion of a community which is forked off by the rest of the social status. A structure of social class involves a hierarchy status groups, the recognition of the superior inferior positions, some degree of permanency of the structure. Where a society is composed of social classes, the social structure looks like a shortened pyramid. At the base of the structure lies the lowest social class arranged in a hierarchy of rank. Individuals composing a particular class stand to each other in relation of equality and are marked off from other classes by accepted standards of superiority and inferiority. A class system involves inequality and inequality of status. When we talk about caste, social stratification is also based on caste in countries like India. The four main castes are Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. There are hundreds of subcastes as well. Inequalities of wealth are also related with prestige and power. Estate and status are also important components of stratification. Estate system is synonymous with feudalism, which remained the basis of social stratification in Europe from the fall of Roman Empire to the rise of the commercial classless generally to the French Revolution particularly. In Russia, in one form or another, it continued to exist. Under the system, the land was taken to be the gift of God to king, who in the absence of any local administrative systems made grants of it called estates or fiefs to nobles called lords temporal for military service. They in turn made similar grants to the inferior class on oath of loyalty and military support. The holder of the land was called as vassal. The multitudes who cultivated were the serfs and the people still lower to the serfs were slaves. These grants with the privileges attached to them in the beginning were personal in character. Occupation and income are also important determinants. Occupation is an aspect of economic system which influences social class structure and thus social stratification. Natalie Rogoff, in her study of social stratification in France and United States, stressed that of all the criteria mentioned in determining class position, occupational position is the most consistently named among the various strata in both societies. Even Talcott Parsons also confirmed this for United States by saying that the main criteria of class status are to be found in the occupational achievements of men, for prestige is attached to occupation. In advanced societies, occupations are related to social status. This is indeed true for all present day societies, including India. Race and ethnicity. Over the time and at some places even now, race and ethnicity was and is taken to be the basis of inequality and stratification. The Western people, wherever they went, claimed racial superiority and attributed their success to it. They took the natives to be of inferior racial origin. The race conflict in Africa, the USA, and in some of the European countries remains a dominant factor in stratification and inequality. In South Africa, for example, the whites constitute a status group, membership of which cannot be acquired by Africans, no matter how wealthy or skilled they may be. The Greeks and Romans had also the racial notions, and the Turks in our country had no less. The Turco-Afghans considered Indian Muslims to be an inferior class, and offices of responsibility and trust were not generally conferred upon them. Balban, a Turk by origin, was occupied with the notion of racial superiority and held that a Turk alone had the qualities to rule. The British, in their zenith of imperialism, had similar notions. With regard to ruling class, societies can also be stratified on the basis of the ruler and the ruled. The ruling class always holds itself superior to those over whom it rules. Democracy, though, is supposed to empower the citizens, the distinctions indeed exist. The political parties and pressure groups are the instruments in the hands of the ruling class to influence the community and to keep themselves in power. In independent countries, political power rests with a political class. Administrative position is also a critical dimension of stratification, and many times it is based on administrative positions. The civil service personnel command a status higher than the members of the provincial service. Within the services too, the members of the higher rank, they command greater respect. The stratification is more distinctly clear in police and military service, where the uniform, badges and ribbons distinguish the officers. Sprott has indicated that in the civil services, grades are distinguished by the shape of chair upon which the official sits and the size of the desk at which he or she writes. Let us now summarize this lesson. Social stratification is an inherent character of all societies. It is historical as we find it in all societies, ancient and modern, and it is universal as it exists in simple or complex societies. The social differentiation on the basis of high and low is the historical heritage of all societies. Social stratification is social, ancient, diverse, universal and consequential in nature. Social stratification may be based on variety of forms or principles such as free and unfree, class, caste, estate, occupation, administrative hierarchy or income level.